get into camp observations here. A lot to talk about. Some actually negative for observations for day 8 on a couple players. So we're going to address that. Is this a real problem? Because now it's been some time where we have seen some ways for these players. The trends. We've seen the trends. Who's going up and who's going down. In this video, we're going to talk about that. That's exactly what it is about right here for this 8th day of camp. And let's go and get it started. Subscribe to the channel at some point. Everybody else is going to be on here. I'm simply waiting for them and the powers to be to get it done. So subscribe to the channel here. Here's the observation so far with the Detroit Lions in today's training camp, and Hendon Hooker has another rough day with some bright spots. This has been now consistent in training camp after 8 days, so this is what we can say about Hendon Hooker. He is inconsistent right now. He has got to get better with consistency. He's still staring down receivers. He's still not making the right read quickly and holding on to the football too long. You just can't do that. When it comes to Hendon Hooker, he has got to improve at this point. I don't know what else can be done. He's just going to need consistency and reps to get it through his brain that holding on to the football and staring down receivers is a no-go in the NFL. It really is. We got a preseason game here, in 6 days versus the Giants, and this is huge for him. He needs to go out there and do better and improve than what he has been doing in training camp. Because if he cannot improve, they may have to. Can you really rely on him if it is going to consistently be like this? So hopefully he improves. But it's another shoddy day for Hendon Hooker. And with 8 days of shoddiness, we can actually say something here that needs to improve. So he's got to get better at that. You cannot consistently throw interceptions and hold on to the football and work out in the NFL. This just doesn't work. Jake Bates had another rough day at training camp and missing a lot. He went 8 for 15 on field goals, 5 for 7 on extra points. That's not good enough in the NFL. It's just not good enough. He's missed from 51, 46, 46, 51, 54, 60, and 40. Some went one hit in the post. 64 came up short. The kickoffs looks rough at times, too. This wasn't just a thing today. He's been missing kicks all summer. He'll likely bring in another kicker for competition. And, look, if this is the way it's going to be, then we got to get a new kicker, 100%. Got to. We cannot have kicker missing this too many field goals. And I know he's loved in the city of Detroit. I don't care what he did for the Panthers. Right now, what we're seeing in training camp, he started off good, but he's been down a downward slope. He's now he's going in the wrong direction. The trajectory is in the wrong direction you want to see. Lions are going to have to bring another kicker for competition. This cannot just be his job. If he is going to consistently miss, and I'm glad that it's happening in training camp right now, 100%, all of a sudden he's having the misses because you don't want this to happen during the regular season. If he can't get his stuff together, it's going to have to be competition, and it's not going to be guaranteed to be his job. Simple as that. You want the best 53 in the roster, and you're missing kicks. That's going to be N-O to the G-O. And he's just got to improve. He's got to improve. There's other kickers out there that the Lions could bring in for competition, and that is something that they can get done 100%. And so we'll see. And what's really good, too, is when it comes to training camp and preseason, there's a lot of kickers that do get cut on each team, and if the Lions don't have an option at that point, you can just take the best kicker of the cuts and see what they could do. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad kicker. It just means they didn't make a team because you're only going to have one kicker on an NFL team. So we'll see. We still have options. Mr. Bates has an opportunity to get his stuff together, but 2 bad practices in a row is not helping his case to solidify himself as the kicker. He has got to be better. He is a confident person. So we'll see what he can do going forward and see if he can correct the mistakes that he has been making, but not a good day for Mr. Bates. It says Jared Goff was red hot, as he has been all training camp except for apparently like one series or something. This is nothing new. It's becoming the norm to talk about Jared Goff, how he's being red hot and how he is continuing to improve. And it's great news. I mean, I don't think anybody expected anything different, did you? I didn't. It's exactly what I expected. And what's good, too, is the level of competition in the DB in the backfield is better than it was last year, and he's still tearing through it. And you're gonna there have times that the secondary's won. Yesterday is more of the defense, but today is Jared Goff, and that's what you're going to see, too, with a lot of these when you have really good teams, right? The offense is really good. The defense playing better, so, of course, they're going to have good days and bad days because both units are pretty good right now. Excuse me for that cough there. Solid day for Kindle Vildor. He's trying to make the roster as the last cornerback. I don't know if he's going to make it or not, but it just shows you the level of competition in the cornerback room is absolutely awesome. It's great, and this is exactly what we want to see. I mean, when you have a ton of good players and the guy who's in the back end of your 53 is doing well, that means you got a good spot there. They said the Jamar Jefferson hype is real. This is the only time I've heard this for this practice. He looks like he had a solid practice. But if you're trying to make RB3, RB4 for that matter, you got to have consistently good. Consistent. Craig Reynolds has been consistent last couple years. Sione Vaki has been consistent right now as a rookie, and there's no way that Jamar is going to take it over Vaki. That's just not going to happen. So it's going to be Jamar Jefferson versus Craig Reynolds. Who will make it? I don't know. I'm definitely going to say Craig Reynolds right now. But look, if Jamar Jefferson's getting better, that's amazing. If he's taking that step, that's why we've had him on the practice squad last couple of years. After we drafted him in the 7th round, he's got an opportunity in preseason here to accelerate the process to make the roster. So, I'm rooting for Jamar Jefferson. I want the best 53, even if he is playing better than Craig Reynolds, and if that's what ends up being the case going forward, then I'm all for that, right? I just want the best 53. But right now, Craig Reynolds has a longer rap sheet of being consistent than Jamar Jefferson, so he's going to have to blow up preseason for him to make this roster. He's going to have to. It's not just training camp. You're going to have to do this in preseason if you're going to beat out Craig Reynolds, who's been Mr. Consistent since his time in Detroit. Just literally consistent about everything. And this is good to see. Says this gentleman here was wrong about Emanuel Mosley, and because Emanuel Mosley has been great in training camp. What did I say when we signed him to a 1-year deal? That's a great. I was. Not a lot of people believed me. Not a lot of people liked my reaction to thinking that it was a good deal that the Lions bring back Emanuel Mosley in a 1-year prove-it deal because they didn't believe he could make it with the issues. He has been really good in training camp. He is healed from the injury. I keep telling people last year he was going to be potentially our number 1 or number 2. So now he is healed, and he's blowing up training camp. This is great for the Lions. This is great for the defensive back room. There was nothing wrong with bringing Emanuel Mosley back on a 1-year prove-it cheap deal, veteran minimum deal. That was the easiest decision that I think that a team would make. Why wouldn't you try? You literally invested all this time into him from last year. You being injured, learning the system, and you invested all this time, and you're just going to let it go? Or you could do a 1-year prove-it deal and see if it works, and it's working. He not only is it working, he's making the team, folks. Emanuel Mosley is making the team. He's been outstanding out there. This hasn't been a one-day thing. This has been all training camp. So you're seeing a consistent pattern with Emanuel Mosley in the right direction. Now we're talking about a different player, and it's going in the wrong direction. That's Donovan Peoples-Jones. He hasn't done anything spectacular in the field. He has been jumped, in my opinion, by Fountain. He is now sitting, to me, at number 5, and if this trajectory continues, he ain't going to make the team. If he is not doing anything in camp and Antoine Green's out there doing better, why would you keep him on the field if Antoine Green is better? Right now he is. So Donovan Peoples-Jones is in the same position as Jake Bates. You need to go in preseason and prove yourself. I don't care what you did in the past. You were competing for number 3. Khalif already won that. Then you were competing with number 4. In my opinion, Fountain already won that. Now you're competing with Antoine Green for number 5, and there may only be 5 receivers on the roster for 53. DPJ, get it together, man. We want you to do well. I am actively rooting for you to do well, but if you're not getting better, I'm sorry. We got to have the best 53 in the roster. And I could be wrong about Donovan Peoples-Jones. I thought he would take the next step this offseason, and it's not looking like it's the case. Jahmyr Gibbs this has been absolutely consistent. Jahmyr Gibbs has taken the next step. He has been a highlight reel in the pass game and in the run game in training camp. I think he potentially could be the best running back in football. I don't care. Oh, that's a homer take. Okay. You can think that, but if Jahmyr Gibbs takes that next step, he absolutely can be. I thought he performed better than a lot of the running backs last year. Anytime this man touches the ball, it's not a homer take to say he is a dynamic playmaker. That's not a homer take. The only issue I have with Jahmyr Gibbs is not Jahmyr Gibbs, it's splitting carries with David Montgomery. That's why I'm not saying he's going to get 2,000 yards running or rushing or anything, because you got 2 really good running backs. But he absolutely is having a phenomenal camp, and he is a highlight reel. Fountain popped again. That has been consistent. He's going to make the roster. Jack Fox, Jill Box had a drop on a pass that looked like it was thrown so hard it would have bursted through his chest. Okay, 1 drop, no big deal. Strickland, nice pass breakup on Traquan Smith, who we've heard absolutely zero about. The Strickland juked, and he shoes off of Isaiah Williams. James Houston and Kyle Pico had sacks. Mitchell Agood had a nice play, including a big hit. St. Brown did the pump dance again because he always is always getting touchdowns, and he's great. Nate Sudfeld was impressed last week, and he was just okay this week. And that's why I had Hendon Hooker making the roster. I mean, yeah, when it comes to Nate Sudfeld, he's had a great camp. Yeah, we already know about Nate Sudfeld. So, yeah, we know what his limits are. So far, so well. I want to see improvements from Jake Bates, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Hendon Hooker. And that is my only complaints. That's a pretty good complaint to have for training camp. It really, really is. Pretty much everybody else has been absolutely great. So this has been a phenomenal training camp so far, and a good 8-week 2 starting, a good 8-day in training camp, and the Lions are going in the right direction. With that said, folks, out of here.